Hey ladies, it's Coach G in Portland, Oregon for Nike meetings. I just tried to make this video a couple of seconds ago and the fire alarm went off like crazy. It's 10 o'clock at night and the fire alarm's going off. Anyway, there's no fire. So just wanted to share a couple of things with you about the state 4x8, give you an idea about how things might work out so that you'll have like a rough plan, kind of a loose expectation about how the race might work and kind of how frequently that it works out. And that will be, I think, helpful for us in terms of kind of wrapping your head around the race. So first of all, super excited. Excited that you guys are like relevant. You've got a chance to go out there and compete with the best in 7A. As Coach Joey talked about earlier in the week, this sort of sets us up also for what things can be for our team for cross country. So this is cool. Really good stepping stone. And I think it's like we've said this before, like when you get to this time of year, like it's time to let her rip, Tater Chip. This is no holds bar, go get after it. And the cool thing about an 800 is, you can wrap your heads around this. Like it's gonna be unpleasant, it's gonna hurt, but it's 2 laps. Like you only have to kind of survive for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and all 2 minutes and 30 seconds of that isn't going to be extremely difficult. So um, go out there and just like give it a rip, like give it your best go. This is the chance to let it loose. You got a 2 week break coming up, so you've got nothing to lose by going out there and racing super hard. We're going to lead off with Tess. Tess, your kind of goal is the same thing we talked about last time in terms of getting good position. Don't take any stuff from other teams in terms of like bumping and pushing and shoving and all that other sort of stuff. Like hold your ground, stay on your feet, get out hard enough to where you're in a really good spot. And I don't think you're going to have to really worry about whether you go out too hard or not hard enough. The thing about state 4x8, at least the way it was last year, the way it was for our girls team who ran really good, is everybody ran a really good hard first lap. And I think you're going to do that based off of adrenaline. You're pumped up. It's the state meet. There will be fans in the stands. There will be some noise. Like there's a different environment. You're going to feel it. Like Saturday's race is one of those things where it's like such a weird vibe, but you're going to have that juice to go out and run an appropriately hard first lap. Um, Harrison and Marietta will have girls that will probably run somewhere like around 220, maybe a little faster, but not much. So listen, Tess, don't be afraid of those girls. I know you've only run 225 so far this year, but I 100% believe in your potential. I think you can compete with those girls. Like maybe you don't run exactly 220, but don't be intimidated. Do not let anybody that's going to be out there on that track intimidate you and be worried about like giving them too much deference, thinking they're too much better than you, letting them get out way too much harder than you. You should be, close enough to where you're reasonably in contact with the front group. And you definitely, at no point during the 2 minutes and however many seconds it's going to take, you should never be in a position to where you're not in the top eight. And if for whatever reason you find yourself not in the top eight, like there's just a big giant clump like early, like again, don't freak out, don't panic. It's like not that big a deal. But by the time the race starts to string out, like we need you, and you are 100% capable of being within the top eight. And the closer you are towards the front of that top eight, the better for us and for our team, for sure. So go out there, be tough, be competitive. Don't be afraid of anybody. Go kick ass and take names. And then the next night, go out there and win yourself a state championship in lacrosse. That would be super cool. What a great way to finish the spring of your sophomore year. Good handoffs as always. Like run as hard as you can to the line. Sophie, go out there, take your 3 steps, get away from that line. Don't just kind of stand there and freeze. Don't do a shuffle step. Like do a good quality handoff. You've been doing them all year. You've had lots of relay practice. That shouldn't be a problem. Fully expect you to run well, Sophie. And your job again, um, loose plan again. Your loose plan is to do the best that you can to kind of maintain whatever position that we're in, and if possible, improve that position. So if Tess hands off and we're like in fourth, who knows? Somebody might go blowing by you in the first 100 meters or whatever. It's a 2 lap race. Always remember that, but do get out appropriately hard on that first lap. Like you should be able to run around a 70 for that first lap. You're 100%. So go out there and run fast. Last year, our girls, I think they all went out like between 70 and 71. Now we had girls who ran 221 and we had girls who ran closer to 230, but everybody got out. And in a race like this, where you're against the best girls, people have been running 800 all season. Most of them will know how to run it right, and most of them will go out hard that first lap, and that's your job too. So go be competitive, go chase, go race, go hunt, um, and I, I assume you're going to run great. Like that's just what our expectation is. You're going to hand off to Riley. Riley, you can have the same mission statement that we talked about with Sophie. So again, this is the state meet. Times don't aren't important. It's all about place at this point. You've shown to be very competitive all season. You're not afraid of the other girls. You're not afraid of racing. You're not afraid of sticking your nose in there. I'm not worried about you going out too hard because even if you go out hard or as hard or harder than you've gone out the whole rest of the season, you're going to have magic. You're going to have game day state adrenaline magic, which will not make it as tough to finish and run a good second lap off of a first good hard lap. It's just how it works. There's something about game day magic, and especially for big game day magic, that allows you to do things that you've maybe never done before. Doesn't mean it's not still going to be hard. Like it's always hard. It's going to be tough at the end of an 800, but um, don't fret. Just go fight. Just go compete. You're trying to beat girls. Anybody who's in front of you or anybody who comes up to try to pass them, you should try to hold them off. You should try to pass people down the straightaway. We are trying to stay within that top 8 the whole race, and we should be able to. Just based off of times and PRs and all that other sort of stuff, we're roughly slotted in around 6th. Um, but again, who knows how people are going to compete in state? And at least what happened last year was there were some teams who, on paper, should have been, 4 or 5 or 6 or in some cases even 10 seconds faster than us. And they couldn't get 4 girls to put together 4 good races on the day when it mattered. And we did. And so we beat several teams that on paper nobody would have had us beating. So if you happen to be in 6th, don't just be content because it's like, well, that's where we're supposed to be. Like we're not really supposed to be anywhere. You're supposed to, the 4 of you are supposed to go run your guts out. And when we get to the final finish line, you all hug each other, and we're proud of like wherever we finish. But I give you the information on 6 just to get a general idea that yeah, like we're supposed to be running among the top 8 teams, and that's who makes the podium. That's who gets medals. That's who gets to be, stand up there and be recognized by the announcer in front of your parents and your teammates and your coaches and all that other sort of stuff. And then Callie, I don't think I have to tell you what to do. You're a senior. You were our anchor last year. You've got the experience that's necessary. You've been running great the whole season, and I can't think of anything cooler for you and for us than for you to finish off your senior year relay like last time. Had some really good relay experiences. You got a bunch of cool medals this year. Going to get another cool medal on Thursday. So go out there and run your guts out. The only thing that I would give you guidance on, based off of watching last year's race, is for whatever reason last year down the home stretch, you kind of wandered out into lane 2 pretty far, and you left lane 1 so wide open to where the Marietta girl who was like trying to run you down and get by you would have had like an easy straight path. She never got there. You ran too good to hold her off, but you gave her like a complete easy lane to run by. And if you stay in that lane 1, guarding the inside rail enough to where nobody has room to squeeze by, and you make them take those extra steps to run outside of you, that may be the difference in like somebody catching you or not. Not that anybody necessarily will be catching you. I believe in your ability to finish really great, but just be cognizant of where your positioning is so that you don't give somebody like an easier path to pass you than what you oughta. For the most part, run pretty close to the rail. Don't give up the inside. Um, and then obviously, stay off of the white line. It's hot lava. Like, I think we've learned that lesson pretty much the hard way. Anyway, hope you've had a good week. Hope you're fired up and looking forward to the race. I expect for us to do really well. I'm super excited to see what you're going to do. I think you're going to surprise yourselves with how good you are. I think you're going to feel really proud of how competitive you are. A team that got 10th in the state meet is going to do better than that at the relay. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, sounds like the fire alarm's getting ready to go off again. I'll close off with that, but I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Good luck. You're going to do great.